a 16-year-old won Olympic gold. Within a year, the same internet that crowned him was writing think pieces about whether he was already finished. Quincy Wilson went from the youngest male track and field Olympian in American history to a teenager people said had burned out. That was 2025. By the summer, he answered all of it by running 44.1, the fastest 400 meters anyone under 18 has ever run, beating grown professionals, leaving even Michael Johnson searching for words. The story of how he fell and came back is the part the highlight reels skip. This story does not start with the comeback. It starts with a family that believed in a boy enough to move. Quincy Wilson grew up in Chesapeake, Virginia, with two athletic parents and an older sister who runs college track. When it became clear Quincy had something rare, the family packed up and relocated to Potomac, Maryland, so he could attend the Bullis School and train under a coach named Joe Lee. They uprooted everything on a bet that a teenager was worth it. That is the weight he carried before he had proven a single thing at the senior level. And he was fast almost immediately. At 14, still in middle school, he broke a national under 1-4 record in the 400 meters that had stood for 30 years, a mark that had belonged to a legend named Obia Moore. The track world noticed and stayed cautious, because youth records get broken constantly by kids who disappear. Coach Joe Lee did the rare thing and refused to rush him, protecting the schedule and trusting the long game. Then came the summer of 2024, and the doubt got harder to hold. At the U.S. Olympic trials, at 16, Quincy broke the under, won 8 world best in the 400, not once, but 3 separate times in about a month, all the way down to 44.2. A high schooler was rewriting a world age group record almost every time he raced. For a while, it all went perfectly. Paris, 2024. At 16 years old, Quincy was named to Team USA's 4x 400 relay pool, the youngest male track and field Olympian the country had ever sent. Think about that for a second. While most kids his age were starting their junior year, he was walking into the Olympic Village with Team USA credentials around his neck. He ran a leg in the heat, the team advanced, and the Americans won gold in the final. A 16-year-old Olympic gold medalist who had not finished high school. Suddenly the most talked about young runner on the planet. That did not last. 2025 went wrong almost from the start. In a high-profile indoor race, another high schooler ran him down and beat him. He dropped a 500-meter showcase he was expected to win. Then he lost again on the outdoor circuit, beaten by 45.24 when he was supposed to be untouchable. Then he failed to qualify for the 2025 World Championships. The boy who won Olympic gold at 16, unable to make the senior team at 17. Remember, just a year earlier, he had broken the under, won 8 world bests 3 times in a month, and finished 6th in the Olympic trials final against grown men, running 44.94 at 16. Now he could not even make the team. An actual Olympian went online and said publicly that Quincy needed a break, that they were watching a burnout in real time. The same fans who called him the future started calling him a cautionary tale. If that sounds brutal, keep watching, because he was 17 and dealing with all of it while finishing his junior year. Most kids crack under that, most kids panic and change everything. Quincy did the opposite. He went back to basics, back to Joe Lee, back to the track, and never changed the plan. No new coach, no desperate move to a different program, no public meltdown. He kept showing up to the same track in Maryland and did the work while the noise got louder. The version of this story you have heard probably stops at the doubt. That is not the full picture. Before I tell you what he did in Memphis, drop it in the comments. Did you write Quincy Wilson off in 2025? Or did you always believe he was coming back? I want to know who kept the faith. The 12th of July, 2025. The Ed Murphy Classic in Memphis, Tennessee. Not a high school meet, a real professional, 400 meters against grown men, including Bryce Dedmon, one of the fastest quarter-milers in America. Wilson starts in lane 5. He goes out hard through the first 200 meters, stays controlled, and in the final straight he opens up. The clock stops at 44.1. He beats Bryce Dedmon. He beats the entire professional field, from the front, in control, like the doubt had never existed. Dedmon, one of the best quarter-milers in the country, ran 44.39 for second and never got close. Delano Kennedy crossed third in 45, a full second behind a high schooler. The professionals in that race were not has-beens. They were established names, and a 1-7 year old controlled them from the gun. Now let that number land. 44.1 is the fastest 400 meters any athlete under 18 has ever run anywhere in history. World Athletics keeps no official record for that age group because times like this are not supposed to exist. It was also the fourth fastest 400 run by anyone on the planet in 2025, across every age group, professionals included. The kid people said was finished ran the fourth fastest time in the world that year, 4 months after the internet buried him. Among Americans, only 2 grown professionals were faster all season. Caleb McRae at 43.91 and Jackery Patterson at 43.98. Brutal answer. So yeah, the burnout talk aged badly. And let me get the record right, because the people in these comments know it. The 400 meter world record is not Michael Johnson's 43.18. Johnson held it for years after 1999, but Wade van Niekerk broke it in 2016 with 43.03 at the Rio Olympics, and that mark still stands. So Quincy Wilson at 44.1 is not just chasing a legend. He is a 17-year-old already within a second of the greatest 400 record in history, with a decade of development still ahead. Most 400 runners do not even reach their peak until their mid to late 20s. Quincy ran a world championship caliber time before he could legally buy a lottery ticket, which means the version of him people will see in a few years has barely started. After the race, Wilson posted 3 words on his Instagram stories: on to the next one. No speech, no shots at the people who doubted him, just 3 words and back to work. The same calm kid whose family moved states for him, who never panicked through 6 months of public doubt. Remember the Olympian who went online and said they were watching a burnout happen in real time? That prediction looks very different now. Quincy Wilson is 18, nowhere near his prime, since 400 runners usually peak in their mid to late 20s. Los Angeles 2028 is 2 years away, on home soil, with the whole country watching. So tell me in the comments, Los Angeles 2028, Quincy Wilson at 20 inches, the Olympic 400 meter final. Does he win gold and chase down Van Niekerk's record? Or does the pressure of a home games finally get to him? Drop it below. I read every single one.